Ever get that feeling, like, that feeling that there's got to be more out there, like the world's bigger than what you can see?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's kind of the vibe I get from this book we're looking at today. Patricia A. McKillip's Moonflash. It's a novel from '84. Blends science fiction with this, like, longing for something more, you know?
Yeah, and what makes this whole deep dive even more interesting is McKillip herself. I mean, we lost her recently, sadly, but she was known for fantasy, right? So to see her writing sci-fi, it's like a whole different flavor.
Totally. Like stepping into a whole new world. And thankfully, we've got a bunch of reviews, analyses, all that good stuff to help us really dig into it. Not just like the surface story, but like what makes Moonflash stick with you even after you've finished it.
Right, because some books, they just do that to you.
Exactly. So, okay, to set the scene a little bit. The story starts with this character, Curiel. She lives in this society that's completely tied to this river. Like it's their everything, their lifeline, their calendar, their...
Their whole world, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But Curiel, she's got this itch, right? This feeling like there's got to be more life than what she's been told.
Oh, I know that feeling. Like McKillip just captured that universal thing, that wanting something beyond what you know. And it's not just some teenage angst. I mean, there's some of that too, I guess, but it's more than that. It's like this deep down human need to understand,
Yeah,
to see what's beyond the horizon.
totally. One reviewer even called Curiel a force of nature, which is kind of perfect when you think about how important the river is to her world.
Yeah, it fits. And this is where I think you can really see McKillip's fantasy background coming through. Like, she could have gone full-on hard sci-fi with Moonflash, spaceships, lasers, all that.
Oh, yeah, I bet she could have.
But she didn't. Instead, she uses these really incredible descriptions. It's almost poetic, the language she uses. Draws you right in.
Oh, speaking of descriptions, there's this one line I gotta mention. It, like, totally stuck with me. It says, her skin was the color of a shadow.
Ooh.
How evocative is that? Like, instantly I'm picturing something mysterious, otherworldly.
Right from the first page.
Yeah.
And that's McKillip for you. She's not just telling you the story. She's painting a picture with her words.
Yeah.
You're feeling those emotions. You're right there with Curiel on her journey. And it's something a lot of the sources we looked at pointed out too. Like, that's her superpower as a writer.
That's so cool. And speaking of journeys, let's talk about the world. Or should I say worlds? Because in Moonflash, Curiel, she travels from her river community to somewhere completely different.
She does. We go from this almost like timeless setting to a world with crazy advanced technology. It makes you think about progress and tradition, what we gain, what we lose.
That's a good point. And kind of between these two worlds, you have the Moonflash.
Oh, yeah, the Moonflash. It's a big deal.
So for listeners who haven't had a chance to read Moonflash yet, what exactly is this Moonflash thing?
Okay, so imagine like a celestial event, but so awe-inspiring. It shapes an entire society's beliefs. That's the Moonflash for you.
Wow.
For
Okay.
Curiel's people, it's everything. Like, it's the rhythm of life.
Huh?
They base their rituals and their whole understanding of time around it. But here's the thing. There's way more to the Moonflash than meets the eye. It's a clue, like a whisper from the past, a path the river community has long forgotten.
Ooh, I love that. A whisper from the past. Like, even with all their futuristic tech, there are still mysteries,
Yeah.
secrets waiting to be uncovered.
Right. It's like this awesome mix of the known and the unknown that makes you want to keep reading. You've got the river people holding on to their traditions.
Yeah.
And then there's Curiel, driven by this need to figure out the Moonflash, even if it means questioning everything.
Yeah. It's like the truth will set you free.
Yeah.
But first, it'll take you on a wild goose chase.
Totally.
And Curiel, she's not alone on this journey, right? She's got Turge, her friend from childhood. And I love that he's not just like along for the ride. He's got his own whole way of looking at things.
Oh, absolutely. He's like the voice of caution. Curiel, she's all about diving in head first, figuring out the how of everything. But Turge, he's more about the why. Like, when they find that old tech, he's the one wondering why it was left behind in the first place.
Oh, that's such a good point. It's kind of like how we all deal with change, right? Some people jump right in, gotta have the newest thing. Others take our time, need to see how it all fits.
Exactly. And a reviewer even pointed out how their dynamic plays into this idea that, we rarely explore the unknown alone. Like, think about any big discovery. It usually involves different people, different ways of thinking to really get the whole picture.
So true. And there's this one scene, I can't remember it exactly, but Curiel and Turge are arguing about whether to tell the river people what they found. Curiel's all for it, but Turge's like, hold on, this could really shake things up.
It's a classic dilemma, right? Wanting to share knowledge, but also protect what people know. McKillip, she's good at that. Doesn't give you easy answers. Instead, you've got these characters struggling with real stuff, and you find yourself wondering what you do.
It's so much deeper than just spaceships and aliens, you know?
Oh, for sure. This is about being human, trying to make sense of things even when it's scary or confusing. And McKillip's language, it just pulls you right in. Like, listen to how she describes the moon flash. It's not just light. It's a silver wave crashing across the sky. A celestial tapestry woven with starlight. Makes you feel that sense of wonder.
It's like even with all the science in the world, there's still room for magic. You know, it's funny because even though it's sci-fi, right, Moonflash, it feels so like down to earth, human, you know? It's not really about the tech or anything. It's about the characters, what they're going through.
Yeah, totally. And that's McKillip's strength. She gets that good sci-fi, the really compelling stuff. It's always about us, about what it means to be human.
It's like even when we're talking about like other planets in the future, we're really just talking about ourselves, huh?
Exactly. And some reviewers, they said the ending felt kind of, I don't know, too neat, too wrapped up. But I feel like that misses the point because just like, you know, the river keeps flowing, Carriol's journey, it doesn't really end with a simple answer. If anything, it's more like it's just beginning, you know?
Totally. It's like she's opened this whole new world and she's still got questions, still searching.
Right. And that's what I love, especially for like younger readers. It's about being okay with not knowing everything.
Yeah.
And that the journey itself, just as important as where you end up.
Maybe even more important, right? Like that saying, life is about the journey, not the destination.
Exactly. And Moonflash, it kind of reminds us that even when we think we've reached the end, there's always something else to discover.
I love that. So for our listeners who are, by now, totally hooked and want to go read this book themselves, what's the one thing you'd tell them to keep in mind?
Don't go in expecting a simple adventure, like with all the answers laid out. Go in ready to be like swept away by McKillip's writing. Connect with the characters.
Yeah.
Just embrace the mystery, you know, because that's where Moonflash really shines.
It's like she's reminding us to be kids again, to look at the world and just wonder.
Yes. And maybe even ask, like, what's our own Moonflash? What's out there, just beyond our own horizons, waiting to be discovered?
Oh, I love that. Such a good question to think about. And for everyone listening, we hope you've enjoyed this deep dive, maybe even found your next favorite book. Until next time, happy reading.